Hi everyone, my name is Patrick, a cloud engineer here at HAYNE.cloud, and today we've got our video on Microsoft updates for August. It's a bit later than usual, but these things happen, but we've got some cool things to talk about. As usual, we're going to be going over some Microsoft Teams feature updates. It seems to be happening quite a lot. A bit later in the video, we'll have some more admin side of things for Intune and Microsoft Entra, a really cool thing called the Entra Suite, which we'll talk about. In your Teams now, you have the ability to rename the general channel. Every time you have a team, there's going to be a general channel which is created, but up until recently, you haven't been able to rename it. So it's just been a channel there where nobody really knows what it's for. It's not really descriptive or offer any kind of value. So if you are the creator of that channel, you can now go into the options and rename it. And yeah, that's just a good thing to have. Next thing we're going to talk about is the custom emojis and reactions. So this is just it's a bit of fun really. You could kind of use it as kind of branding in your organization, but teams might want to use it in just how they interact with each other. We've been having a bit of fun with it internally here. But as always, I'll probably just point out that you can control this functionality in the Teams admin center, so you can turn it on and off for people. You might not want it, especially, people can get a bit carried away sometimes. And just another thing to point out, so emojis can be seen by all tenants. So if you communicate with other companies, these are going to be able to be seen. They won't be able to also use your custom emojis, but if you send them in the chat, they're going to be visible. So yes, just something to be aware of. I have put a bit of a quick guide in here. So essentially, where you'd find your emojis, you go over here and then you click custom. So you're going to want to have like a JPEG or a PNG file, whatever you want to use really. You can select it and then, yeah, you can now respond and react with this custom emoji. I actually made this one myself. This seems like a bit of a dated reference now, but this was the Olympic silver medalist in the shooting. But yeah, that's the emojis there. Again, this is all about kind of how you are controlling and personalizing Teams really this month. So we've got enhanced sound notifications. So this just offers a bit more control about when and why you're notified. So if you go into your team settings, you can adjust a few things there. And on a similar note, same thing for like channel posts now. So before you couldn't mute like a Teams channel, but now if you want to control notifications for an individual post in the channel, you can do that. I think we're all, sometimes we're all busy and we don't need constant notifications, especially when it might be a bit of a more general thing that your organization or teams are discussing. So you can just kind of do a bit more focused control over your notifications now. And sticking with Teams now, so there's the cross-cloud guest access on the web client. So you might use Teams to talk with people outside your organization. So basically you give them guest access and then you can discuss and collaborate within your Teams. Up until now, that's only been possible through the Teams client on your computer or your laptop. But now you can also do that through the web client. So it's obviously useful. We wanted to be able to collaborate with not just people inside our org, but outside as well. And some people might use the web client, or that they might have an issue with their desktop app and they just need to use it briefly. This is going to continue the same functionality if you swap between them. And then very quickly, just wanted to add something on Microsoft Outlook. You can now actually add accounts to the Outlook mobile using the QR code that you generate on the web version. So if you go to Outlook web, you can go and create a QR code. And then if you scan the QR code with your mobile device, that's going to sign you into Outlook automatically without the need to enter your username and password. So that's just a nice bit of functionality that can help you quickly get up and running on a mobile app, especially if you're like an IT admin and you're helping a lot of people, rather than going through the process of logging in with your credentials, doing all that stuff. You can just quickly scan a code. So that is in preview currently and is expected to be available in mid-November. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, now we're getting on to a kind of a more admin side of things, and the first thing is going to be Intune. So yeah, if you use Intune to control and manage Mac devices, This is an additional feature where you can now add applications to be available to users through the company portal. So before you'd go into Intune, you'd put an application there, and then you'd make it required, meaning it would install for all your users or the groups, depending on how you're controlling that. So instead of now doing that, you can make it available, meaning you can just have an app that is possible for users to install. They would just go into the company portal on their device, and then they can install the app. So that just makes it a bit, a bit more configurable. You don't have to install everything for all the users and groups. You can just make things available for them if they need it in their job role. And it's just good to see Microsoft continuing to support macOS device management. Hopefully they continue to do that, and it's going to improve, and we can, continue to use that, and it'll be a better solution. And I just wanted to touch on this as well, which was Windows 365 security baselines. So if you're not aware or you don't use it, Microsoft offer security baseline templates in Intune, meaning there's some templates that give you a bunch of security settings and configurations in a single policy. It's a good way to get a good security baseline quickly if you don't already have that type of mature process and standards in your business. They're now kind of branching that solution out to Windows 6.3. They are now branching out to Windows 365, which is Microsoft's cloud PC. If you're not aware, it's basically just your local laptop, but imagine it's running in the cloud. You log on to this device, and you have all your apps there for you. They're now bringing a security baseline, so you can make sure that is secure, because of course, just because it's in the cloud doesn't mean it's secure. You still have to go through these things to make sure it's up to a standard. So the baseline offers faster deployment. So they're bringing out version updates quicker, so they're keeping up to a good security standard. There's going to be improved user interface and reporting, so people like me who need to report on these experiences can go in there and run better reports. More consistent naming, so I think if you've ever used any of these portals, that naming can be frustrating. It can change, but they're trying to make that more consistent across the Intune portal, which is good. And then the ability to use assignment filters, just so we can then filter what and where kind of gets these security baselines. So the last thing I wanted to touch on is the Microsoft Entra suite. So this is a bundle of services in the Entra solution. That's really cool. So you've got things you might already have, like conditional access, role-based access control, self-service, password reset, and risk-based conditional access. But they're now going to bundle that with Microsoft Entra Internet Access and Microsoft Entra Private Access. They're two newer services that offer really kind of great security benefits. So Internet Access is like a secure web gateway. So if you're not doing things like web content filtering, that's going to be useful to you. So it just allows you to control what a device has access to on the internet. So of course, the internet is a great place, but also it's a terrible place. So we need to control what we have access to. If you're not doing anything like that, then this is a good solution for you. Entra Private Access is also really great. So that's going to allow you to access your applications on your network, so your legacy apps, anything that's not like SaaS. So it could be running on a server in your on-premises environment, or in a data center somewhere. So traditionally, to access that, we'd have to use a VPN. Everyone knows about that, but in an ideal scenario, we wouldn't continue to rely on VPN. So if you're trying to remove them from your organization, but you still need access to your legacy applications, you haven't moved everything to SaaS, so you've still got all these older applications that you need to access. Well, how are you going to do that? Something like private access is something that will be really helpful. What that does is you'll have an application proxy on a server that has access to the network, and then you'll have it on your client device, and that kind of creates not so much a tunnel, but it's allows that access directly to the application over kind of the Microsoft backbone rather than going through a VPN. So that's a really powerful tool and comes bundled with this Entra suite. So if you're looking to do all of these things, leverage conditional access, which is really powerful, leverage kind of the MFA and the risk-based things they do, I think you should definitely consider looking into having this bundle. I think it's £9.90 per user, and for all of that stuff, that's a pretty good value. Especially again if you're trying to become more secure, you're trying to update your technology, move away from VPNs, but be as secure as possible. Getting all that together and leveraging the kind of powerful tools there is really important. So if you want kind of more information on the pricing, you can go to our blog post and have a look at that, but definitely something to consider. And that is it for today. Thank you for joining, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us through LinkedIn or through our website. We're happy to engage and discuss. Thank you for joining.